What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Nino Barksdale, the creator of Diecast City, and also the creator of this YouTube channel, Toying Around Studios. Welcome back, and this is Chapter 2. So, first of all, I want to say, hope you guys are having a good day. If you guys haven't seen, this is your first time watching us, this is Chapter 2. Chapter 1 I released already, but if you guys stick around, you guys are going to have a good time. This is just my insight on the series, Diecast City. Get the little character intros. Hope you guys are doing good today, though. Like I said, I really do appreciate it. If you guys are watching this, that means you guys really care about the channel. You care about my input. If you want to watch more, I'll put a link in the description or at the end of the video. You can watch the actual full video without me jabbering all over it. But yeah, this is the boxer gym again, Jules.
Yo, Jules, man, I just got here fast
TK.
as I could.
So relax, man. It's all good.
As you,
I didn't know if
if you watch TK and Jules, they kind of have like a mentor-mentee type of relationship, a fatherly.
You know what that is?
I haven't really dug too deep into TK's background, but Jules is kind of like the OG. He's like the old school. He's been in the game for a minute. He doesn't get dirty as much, like he did his time. Him and Marcellus, they did their time. And right now, they're trying to build up the young bucks, trying to build up the young bucks. TK, Perry, get them to understand that this could be theirs. So very rarely do you see like a drug kingpin make it to retirement. Talk about retirement. Usually, retirement for them is in the pen. And when they come out, like 20 years to do long bids or they get killed. You know what I mean? So.
Why you got a nigga out here in the park on some all back in the day shit?
But this is
Motherfucker, if you don't stop talking to me like I'm some old regular ass nigga, I swear to God I will fuck you up.
Yeah, my bad, Hunk.
Don't be scared of birds and shit. So like I was saying,
showing the softer side of Marcellus, he likes to feed the birds in the park, trying to school his nephew, but he's a little hard headed, cares too much about the females, not really taking it serious, but he wants more, he wants more responsibilities. He's too ambitious, but he needs to learn, he needs to learn a lot.
Loyal, dependable, and capable. But there's one thing he's not. He's not blood. Now, I'm going to be depending on you a lot when you get your head out your ass, that is.
Yeah, so that's the thing, Marcellus really, he cherishes family, and Perry, family and loyalty, that's his biggest thing, And Perry's his family, so that's why he cares a lot about him. So, we're back to the Tarantino family. This is, Tony Bucks. This is like his little gambling spot. He has kind of like a social club with him. He's another capo. Him and Vic, they kind of have like a little love-hate relationship. Just like kind of like if you see the Sopranos with like Paulie. Like there's always tension. Yeah, there's always tension between these capos. Like they all part of the same family, but they always look to outshine the other. So this is
y'all could use a bigger office.
Yeah.
Hey, best pastrami sub on the whole east side. Sal's Deli.
Forget about it. House of Cold Cuts, Lincoln Log Avenue. The bread is fresher.
Just some typical mob banter, It's not always about crime, not always about gangster shit. Sometimes you talk about your favorite spot to eat. Go over to Gino's. They got a ravioli over there to die for. Forget about it.
Yo, Vic, you remember Tommy Spallini from the neighborhood, right? Just finished a 2-year bid.
Yeah, sure. That was a heavy charge. Hey, the lawyers took care of that. Got me out early. And you already hanging out with us degenerates? Hey, yo, Tommy. You mind giving us time to talk? Yeah, sure. Hey, Frankie, I'll be around the corner.
Tommy, he's going to be one of Frankie's, not really a new guy. Yeah, new guy, but one of Frankie's go-to young kids. You know what I mean? Like, a guy that Like, you know, the Mafia, they got a thing called farm teams. And they got a lot of young, up-and-coming, they call them Mafia wannabes. You know, they're not made guys yet, but they're like, you know, like 20-year-olds, you know, 18 young kids who just, they break windows, send messages, you know, do things like that, you know, mess up a shop, you know.
And Tommy, that guy did 2 years on a murder. I'm a little curious.
Yeah, Vic really don't trust nobody.
Maron, you know Donny Gaza, as big a cocksucker he is,
Maron
just offered us
me.
a deal on a warehouse. Of course, we would need an outsider to run it.
So yeah,
not these
so like in these the first few chapters, I do a lot of bouncing back and forth from the Mafia story to, you know, drug kingpin story. You know, it's a lot of bouncing around. And, you know, just because I'm trying to still flesh it out, you know, this is the early seasons. And, you know, after, like I say, maybe chapter 5, I kind of get away from that.
Not like you got
So,
customers in this raggedy motherfucker.
Cisco.
Man, you better go somewhere with that old dong ass hair that you got, nigga.
Yeah, this is...
Nigga.
So this is TK's barbershop. You know, he runs it. It's kind of like a front, you know. In the Cisco, he's he's like a crew chief. He runs the James Avery projects. You know, so that's like one of the biggest drug spots for the GMT crew. Like they pretty much run it, and then Perry and Cisco, they really don't like each other. You know, Perry's a little. If you really watch, I try to mirror his voice after Cameron. You know, really paid in full. You know, yeah. So I try to mix up the accents a little bit. Try to give a little bit of the East Coast, a little bit of a West Coast, a little bit of my boys. You know, they try to do like a little bit of the South. You know, like we really just want to make it regionally ambiguous, even though it's heavily East Coast. It's heavily East Coast based, the series itself, but I'm trying to have the accents be, you know, just, you know, trying to bounce it around, you know.
Nigga, just give me 2 more from Perry's 3.
But yeah, you got American Hustle. You see that post in the back, American Hustle.
He's the only nigga
Another great movie.
that needs a learning manual.
I try to find some cool little posters to post around the wall. You know, I got, you know, rest in peace Kobe. Yeah, got the Chronic back there, classic album, and Avengers. Yeah, but I try to, you know, have like the Lego versions. You know, I didn't want to have like the real posters. You know, try to play around, have some fun with it.
All right, I'ma holler at you, TK.
But yeah, I definitely I like playing around with the sets. The sets is always like that's probably the roughest thing, is to make sure the sets, you know, I want everything to have a distinct look. You know, everybody has their space. You know, the gym looks like this. The Tarantino's, their social club looks like this. You know, outside scenes, inside scene, the barbershop. You know, when they're at the park. You know, I want everything to have. You know, I want it to pop. I want you guys to know that this is okay. You know, this is TK spot.
We good?
Yeah. Yeah, here's Frankie getting down to business. You know, shaking down. You got Goofy out there, up to no good. Dylan. What you doing out there, Goofy? Yeah. He gives it right up. This is a little montage. Try my best to do a little montage. You know, most crime shows and series, most crime movies, you do a little montage. Beat ups, you know, people beating up people, collecting money for the boss. It just allowed me to have fun with some other figures I have. You know, they may not be big characters, but they flesh out the world. You know, they make it seem bigger. See, there go Tommy, Frankie and Tommy.
I always made sure to kick up to Vic.
You gotta kick up to the boss. Yeah. This is the James Avery projects. Shout out to James Avery, you know, Uncle Phil. I thought it'd be funny, like just to, name it after classic sitcom dads. I got a couple other spots that are named after different, if you see, what's that show, Invincible? They named the college, named the high school after Reginald Van Johnson. The dad, Carl Winslow. So I was really inspired by that. I was like, yeah, it'll be fun to play around. Give it a name, give it like a real name.
Oh shit! Do my eyes deceive me? Frankie Miami, my favorite paisan. What brings you to the projects, baby?
Hey, what can I say? I got lost on my
So
way.
what Frankie's doing is he's trying to find somebody on a street level that would deal.
Well, that depends on the nature.
Deal their drugs. Like they're getting into the game.
Come on.
But it's got to be a conflict of interest. And as you can see in the first scene, Cisco's a little more ambitious. So he's willing to take on extra. Try to get more money, trying to get his name out there.
Nigga, what's that be? You got an Aston Martin for me?
Look, with all the money you're making down here, you gotta be living like a rap star, one of those guys like Drake or something.
I'm doing alright. It could be better though.
So
I could have this whole area.
It's kind of showing like Frankie, him and Cisco, they kind of have history. They know each other. Frankie did a little bit of time in jail, and Cisco has a brother that did some time in jail, did some time in prison. He looked out for Frankie, did something for him. And he appreciates that. That's the thing about Frankie. He's a very loyal guy. Frankie Miami is very loyal. But he's very thorough, too. Don't get on his bad side. Yeah, this is another one of, I like this song, Take 5. I think it's David Brubeck. It's an old jazz song. So, I put a lot of my favorite songs in here, try to mix up the vibe, sometimes I use a little hip hop, and that could be a reason why my videos don't get on the YouTube algorithm that much, because I use too much copyrighted music. But I don't know. I feel like it's fun. For me, it's not about getting paid yet. Hopefully, one day, But for me, it's mainly just getting. I want to get my true vision of it out. Who knows? Maybe one day I might make a remaster and I'll change up the music, make it so I can get change it up a little bit. But for right now, I like the music choice. I like having
about that.
Yeah, uppity ass nigga if you ask me.
Yeah.
Shit, I ain't fucking with that nigga.
So TK, he really, he's good at laying low. He doesn't he's not too flashy. He pretty much spends most of his time in the barbershop. He controls, the distribution of the drugs. He doesn't really sell it, but he makes sure that all the crews get what they're supposed to get. They, when it's time to get paid, he collects the money from them. He's pretty much the middleman. He does all that, So he's like the number 3 guy in the organization. Marcella's at the top, Jules is number 2, and then TK is number 3.
He just stepped out.
So here, Frankie, he's trying to find somebody. He's trying to reach out. So right now he's trying to reach out to TK. But TK's hip to it. He knows. Like, hey man, I don't know you. Asking my name. I'm Marcus. So you can tell. Frankie has that look. He looks like a wise guy. He looks like a mafia guy. So
Marcus.
And they go his muscle, Tommy. Yeah.
You see him? Let him know Frankie Miami stopped by.
Yeah, Frankie Miami. Don't forget the name.
Nah, no need for that. I'll be back.
Politicians and wise guys. What the fuck?
Yeah, just leave it alone. I feel like I had to bring back Matty G for a little bit, give him a little shine. He's a made guy. He got made in the first episode. So right now he's still hanging out at his little local joints. He hasn't forgot about his day one friends. Most times somebody becomes a made guy, they feel like they got a chip on their shoulder. They got to go to the Copacabana or whatever. Him, he's still eating at the old Sal's Deli. Hanging out with his day one Richie.
You're not a member.
Yeah, so Richie's just an associate. So he gets reminded that hey, you don't talk about family business. You're not a made guy, but you stick with me, you'll be a made guy soon. Capiche? go TK cruising around. TK's a visionary though. You know, he's in the blue light district. This is another part of town. You know, like it's a little more seedier, a little more. You know, they got more gang activity over here. But you know, he sees a crew that's out there. You know, he recognizes them. He sees them out there hustling, and you know, he's looking to expand. You know, right now, you know, GMT. You know, they got muscle, they got product. They got territory, but you know TK still trying to find some guys loyal to him. You know, and they try to put him on. So you know, use a couple Fortnite characters. You know, Drift, Pug, and I don't know. I like them. I like adding different type of characters in it. You know, it brings a surrealism to the world.
I'm TK with the Get Money team. I like how y'all handle.
Like this whole scene was supposed to be similar to like Belly. You know. Like I don't like that shit. You know, that's like one of my favorite scenes too. So you know, I told you. So between The Sopranos and all these other shows, movies, you know, you'll catch a lot of different movie references that I use or scenes I try to mirror.
We take care of our own. All you need to do is re-up from us. You'll get no interference. How's that sound? You can promise me no interference? You got my word.
Back to Goofy. Oh my bad, G-Dog. That's his name.
G-Dog, my man. How's about laying another 8-ball on me? I have a little shindig later on.
Yeah. Goofy, you know, like for real, like he's a righteous hustler though. You know, he's making money out there. You know, he's out there by himself. He's very bold. You know, he don't have a crew. Doesn't even have a crew with him.
I suggest you step the fuck off before I fill your ass up with some hot ones.
That's one of the biggest mistakes. You know, you ever heard the expression, don't pull a gun unless you're ready to use it. You know, that might come to bite him in his ass.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, my boy Mike, that's my boy Michelangelo Blackwell again. He did a great Goofy. I wish, you know, this is like the last scene with him, but you know, I wish we would have more with him. But he did a great job.
One nigga pulled a gun and all y'all run.
Yep, you know Scooty a little bitch. Said some shit about neighborhood watch.
Shit, nigga, I ain't trying to die. Man, y'all some scary ass.
See, Perry's crew, you know, they're not really hardened thugs, hardened, you know, criminals. They ain't trying to, you know, they'll give somebody the beat down, you know, they'll slang some drugs or whatever, but they ain't really about this, you know. But Perry, this is like his first hit. And bam, just like that. That's the end of G-Dog. And that's the end of his story. So, you know, I felt like it was a good ending, you know, like showing that Perry stepping up, you know, if you in that first scene. But that's the end of the chapter. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And like the video says, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.